Have you ever been caught off guard by a sharp, cutting remark that left you feeling small in front of others? Maybe it was a sarcastic jab or a thoughtless joke that felt more like a slap in the face than humor. In those moments, you freeze, not knowing whether to fire back, walk away, or pretend it didn't hurt. Here's the truth. How you respond in such situations defines whether you walk out with dignity or lose respect entirely. Stoic wisdom teaches us one powerful thing. You can't control what others do, but you can control how you handle it. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Your strength doesn't come from matching their energy with an equally disrespectful response. It comes from a calm, calculated reaction that speaks louder than words. Think of yourself as a sturdy tree in a storm. The winds of disrespect may howl around you, but you stand rooted, unshaken. The moment you let someone's petty comment disrupt your peace, you've handed them control. And that's exactly what some people crave. They thrive on creating chaos to elevate their own fragile egos, using others as stepping stones to feel superior. But respect isn't something you demand. It's something you inspire. People respect those who show restraint when provoked, who set boundaries without aggression, and who refuse to stoop to a lower level. It's about making it clear that cheap shots won't rattle you, because you know your value and won't be shaken by someone else's insecurities. What's the secret? It's not about grand gestures or public comebacks. It's in the quiet power of self-assurance, the ability to look someone in the eye after they've tried to diminish you and show no sign of defeat. Respect begins the moment you stop seeking approval and start showing self-worth. In this script, we'll explore timeless Stoic strategies to turn those uncomfortable moments into opportunities for growth and strength. By the end, you'll know exactly how to handle disrespect with calm, grace, and unshakable confidence. Let's dive in. Number 1. The quiet power of first impressions. Imagine this. You're at a networking event, surrounded by strangers, all radiating varying degrees of confidence and charisma. The air hums with conversation. Suddenly, someone walks toward you with purpose, their hand extended for a greeting. You glance at their hand but remain seated, offering a quick, half-hearted shake. Without saying a word, you've conveyed something profound: disinterest, hesitation, and perhaps even a lack of self-assurance. Here's a truth that hits harder the more you reflect on it. People notice the small things. First impressions aren't about how well you craft your words. They're about the energy you project. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one." In moments like these, being present and intentional matters far more than clever words or flashy gestures. Think of a first impression as a photograph. It's snapped in an instant, but it lingers in the minds of others. If that photo shows someone slouched, uninterested, or detached, it's like handing someone a blurry, uninspired image of who you are. But if you rise to greet someone, make steady eye contact, and bring a calm yet confident energy, you give them a clear, sharp image, one they're more likely to respect. I remember attending a professional seminar where two people caught my attention for very different reasons. One individual stood up for every introduction, whether they were greeting a senior executive or thanking a server for filling their glass. They weren't showy, but their actions spoke volumes. They exuded respect, not just for others, but for themselves. On the flip side, another person remained seated for every interaction. It wasn't intentional, it was a habit. Yet that habit created an invisible barrier. Others unconsciously took them less seriously, even though they were equally capable. That's the power of small actions. They can elevate or undermine you without a word being spoken. You might wonder, why do these tiny gestures matter so much? Here's the answer. They show how much you value yourself and others. Standing up to greet someone, maintaining eye contact, or even offering a firm handshake isn't about empty politeness. It's about saying, "I see you, and I see myself as someone worthy of respect." These actions align with a core Stoic principle. Control what you can. You can't dictate how others view you, but you can influence it by the way you present yourself. Think of it like planting a seed. The way you greet someone is the soil. If you ignore the little details, like staying seated or avoiding eye contact, you're planting in rocky ground. But if you greet someone with intention, you're planting in fertile soil. Over time, that seed of respect grows stronger, rooted in their memory of your confidence. Here's a metaphor to seal this idea. Imagine you're a bridge. A strong bridge invites trust and admiration, while a shaky one, even if visually impressive, creates doubt. Your actions, not your words, are the foundation of that bridge. If you greet someone without sincerity or presence, you're building with weak materials. But if you rise, hold their gaze, and communicate respect, you're creating something unshakable. So, next time you meet someone, let your body language tell the story of who you are. Rise to the occasion, literally. Let your actions say, "I respect myself and I respect you." In the end, it's these small, intentional moments that define not just how others see you, but how you see yourself. Number 2. How to handle interruptions with quiet power. Picture this. You're mid-sentence in a group conversation, weaving your thoughts into a story, and someone abruptly cuts in. They hijack the moment, leaving your words hanging in the air. Your instinct might scream at you to fight for the spotlight, raise your voice, fire back, or even glare. But stop for a moment. What if there's a way to regain control without uttering a single word? As Marcus Aurelius said, you don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you. The Stoics believed that the greatest power lies in self-control, not in dominating others. When someone interrupts you, the real battle isn't about words. It's about composure. Losing your temper or snapping back only shifts the focus from their rudeness to your reaction. Instead, channel calm authority. Imagine yourself as a lighthouse in a storm. The waves crash around you, the interruption, but your steady light remains unshaken. When someone disrupts you mid-conversation, your silence and steady gaze become that light. Fix your eyes on them, not with anger, but with quiet intensity. That gaze, coupled with calm stillness, sends an unspoken message. I see you, but I won't let you throw me off course. The weight of your pause is often more powerful than the loudest comeback. Let me share a moment from my own experience. During a family dinner, I was telling a lighthearted story when a relative suddenly interrupted to share their own anecdote. My initial reaction was frustration, but instead of jumping in or reacting, I stopped. I looked at them calmly, without a hint of aggression, and waited. That silence stretched just long enough for them to realize they'd derailed the moment. They paused, smiled awkwardly, and said, "Sorry, please continue." That small moment of control didn't just reclaim the conversation. It set a tone of mutual respect for the rest of the evening. You might wonder, what if they don't stop? What if they keep talking over me? That's the beauty of this strategy. It's not about forcing others to stop. It's about showing that their behavior won't shake you. Once they finish, reclaim your space with calm authority. Say, "Let me pick up where I left off," and continue. This approach doesn't just assert your right to speak. It demonstrates self-worth and confidence without confrontation. Interruptions can feel like a challenge to your dignity, but they're also an opportunity to showcase your inner strength. Think of it like this. Every interruption is a test of your composure. Reacting with anger is like pouring gasoline on a small fire. Instead, let your calmness be water, extinguishing the flames before they grow. The Stoics teach us that power doesn't come from controlling others. It comes from mastering ourselves. Handling interruptions with grace isn't just about earning respect, it's about embodying it. Your response becomes a reflection of who you are and what you stand for. So next time someone cuts you off, don't lose your cool. Be the lighthouse in the storm. Hold your gaze, stand firm, and let your actions quietly remind everyone that you are someone worth listening to. Respect doesn't require loud words. It's written in the strength of your silence. Number 3. The Stoic way to handle public humiliation. Imagine sitting in a circle of friends, enjoying the chatter, when someone drops a joke aimed at your expense. Laughter erupts, and for a split second, you feel the sting of humiliation. Your first instinct might be to snap back or let the embarrassment consume you, but what if you could flip the script entirely? What if their attempt to diminish you only made you look stronger? As Epictetus wisely said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is one of the most profound lessons of Stoic philosophy, and it applies perfectly in moments like these. When someone tries to humiliate you with a joke, your reaction carries more weight than the joke itself. Lose your temper, and you hand them control. Stay composed, and you hold all the power. Here's a story to paint the picture. During a meetup with old friends, one of them decided to retell an embarrassing story from our school days, hoping to get a laugh at my expense. My face flushed with heat, and my gut reaction was to fire back with a biting remark. But instead, I chose a different path. I smiled, leaned forward slightly, and calmly asked, "Sorry, could you repeat that?" I didn't catch it. What happened next was fascinating. The moment they had to repeat the joke, its sting was dulled. The group's laughter faded, replaced by a growing awkwardness. The storyteller began to fumble, suddenly realizing their attempt at mockery wasn't landing as they'd hoped. Their joke had turned into a hollow echo. And just like that, I regained the upper hand. Without raising my voice, without a single word of retaliation. You might wonder, why ask them to repeat the joke? Wouldn't that just let them humiliate me again? Here's the brilliance of this approach. Forcing someone to repeat their words drains them of impact. The joke loses its edge, the laughter dies down, and everyone starts to notice the awkwardness of their behavior. Your calmness, in contrast, becomes a silent yet powerful statement of strength. Think of this tactic as shining a spotlight on a weak flame. By exposing their attempt to humiliate you, you don't just extinguish it. You make them question why they tried in the first place. It's not about embarrassing them in return, but showing that you're unshaken, untouchable. Stoicism reminds us that we don't have to react to every jab or insult thrown our way. As Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This means that no matter how cutting someone's words might seem, they can only harm you if you let them. By pausing, breathing, and choosing your response wisely, you can transform what might feel like an attack into an opportunity to show your composure. Let's take a metaphor to understand this better. Imagine you're a mountain, and their joke is a gust of wind. The wind tries to shake you, but you stand still, unyielding. The more the wind blows, the more obvious it becomes that you are immovable. Your calmness doesn't just protect you, it makes others respect you. You may also wonder, what if others laugh at the joke? Doesn't that mean they agree with it? Not necessarily. Group laughter is often reflexive, a response to the moment, not the joke itself. When you stay calm and composed, you shift the tone of the conversation, and people will naturally gravitate toward respecting you over time. So, the next time someone tries to make you the punchline, don't let their words define you. Pause, Let the silence settle and respond with quiet confidence. Their joke might have been loud, but your composure will speak volumes. This isn't just about avoiding humiliation, it's about showing the world and yourself that your self-worth isn't up for debate. In every situation, you have the power to write the ending, and with calmness and clarity, you'll always come out stronger. Number 4. How to diffuse provocation without losing your cool. Imagine sitting at a family gathering when someone throws a sharp comment your way. Perhaps they jab at a past failure or something you're sensitive about, all while everyone watches. Their words feel like a dagger, aimed to provoke a reaction. In that moment, the world seems to pause as all eyes turn to you. What do? Most people might fire back, try to defend themselves, or let anger take over. But what if there was a way to turn the tables, leaving the instigator flustered while you remain calm and in control? Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." This Stoic insight reminds us that the power lies not in matching someone's negativity, but in choosing a better response. Instead of reacting defensively, take a breath and redirect the situation entirely. Picture this. After the pointed comment, you pause, maintain a calm demeanor, and casually ask, "By the way, does anyone know a good bakery nearby? I was thinking of picking something up for the next get-together." What happens next is almost magical. The instigator's momentum is disrupted. Their attempt to spark a reaction fizzles as the room shifts focus to your unrelated question. Conversations pivot to bakeries and desserts, leaving them without the satisfaction of seeing you ruffled. You've just disarmed the situation without raising your voice, arguing, or lowering yourself to their level. You might ask, why would an unrelated question work? The brilliance of this approach lies in its simplicity. Provocation thrives on engagement. It feeds off the reaction it provokes. By redirecting the conversation, you deny the instigator the emotional fuel they seek. It's as if you've changed the channel on a program they were directing, leaving them unsure of what to do next. Think of it like catching a punch before it lands. Instead of meeting force with force, you sidestep gracefully, making their attempt look foolish. It's a reminder of the Stoic principle that power comes not from controlling others, but from controlling yourself. As Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This tactic is like water flowing around a rock. The rock, in this case, is the provocation, solid and immovable. But the water, your calm response, moves effortlessly, finding its way around the obstacle without resistance. This fluidity leaves the rock unchanged, but erodes its influence over time. But won't they see through the tactic, you might wonder? If your tone and demeanor are natural, the transition feels seamless. It's not about dodging the situation awkwardly, but about maintaining grace and composure. A well-placed question feels organic, disarming the tension while preserving your dignity. I remember a situation where someone mocked me publicly, pointing out a mistake I'd made in my career. The sting was real, but instead of letting it show, I paused and asked, "Did anyone see that new coffee shop down the street? I heard it's great, thinking of trying it this week." The effect was immediate. Their smug grin faltered as the conversation shifted. The group began talking about coffee, and the moment they'd tried to use against me evaporated. This strategy doesn't just diffuse tense moments, it sends a powerful message. It says, "I'm in control of myself, and you won't dictate my emotions." People around you notice this composure. They respect it because it shows strength, not weakness. More importantly, it reinforces your own sense of self-worth. You realize you're not at the mercy of someone else's words. You hold the power to rise above. The next time someone tries to provoke you, remember that you don't have to engage on their terms. Ask a simple, unrelated question and watch as the dynamics shift. As Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. With this technique, you'll not only disarm negativity, but also elevate yourself in the eyes of others. True respect comes from mastering yourself, even in the face of challenges. Number 5. When respect isn't given, walk away with power and grace. Have you ever stayed in a situation where you felt ignored, undervalued, or even outright disrespected, thinking that if you just tried harder, things might change? It's a familiar trap, believing that if you prove your worth long enough, others will eventually see it. But sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do isn't to push harder, it's to walk away. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Walking away isn't about giving up. It's about choosing yourself. Think of a candle in a dark room. That light doesn't beg for attention. It simply shines, illuminating its value for those who appreciate it. If people refuse to see your light, it doesn't dim your worth. It simply means you're shining in the wrong room. Walking away is your way of taking that light elsewhere, to a place where it's valued. A friend of mine, Sarah, learned this the hard way. She was an exceptionally talented creative professional, pouring her heart into a major project at her company. But her manager constantly ridiculed her in meetings, dismissed her ideas, and made her feel invisible. For months, Sarah tried to win their respect, working harder, contributing more, and staying late to perfect every detail. Yet, her efforts were met with the same indifference, even disdain. The breaking point came during a pivotal meeting. Once again, her ideas were brushed aside without reason. But this time, Sarah didn't argue or plead. She calmly closed her laptop, stood up, and said, "I'm going to put my energy into a place where it's valued." With that, she walked out of the meeting. That same day, she submitted her resignation, not out of anger, but as an act of self-respect. Months later, Sarah joined a new company, where her talents were not just acknowledged, but celebrated. Her story reminds us that walking away isn't a retreat. It's an advance towards something better. It's not a declaration of war, but a quiet assertion of your worth. You might wonder, but what if walking away feels like running away? Shouldn't I fight for respect? The answer lies in understanding the difference between effort and sacrifice. Respect is never something you beg for or chase. It's something you cultivate by knowing your value. When all your efforts are met with indifference or ridicule, staying only erodes your self-worth. Walking away, on the other hand, sends a clear message, not just to others, but to yourself. I refuse to stay where I'm not respected. Imagine being a gardener, tending to a tree that refuses to grow. You water it, nurture it, and give it every chance to thrive. Yet nothing changes. At some point, you realize it's not your efforts that are lacking. It's the soil. Walking away isn't abandoning the garden. It's recognizing that you deserve a place where your efforts bear fruit. Stoic philosophy teaches us that while we can't control how others behave, we can always control how we respond. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When you walk away, you're not running from disrespect, you're walking toward dignity. And that's not just a personal victory, it's a profound act of self-preservation. Some might fear that leaving sends the wrong message or creates unnecessary drama. But walking away doesn't need to be dramatic. It can be quiet, resolute, and deeply empowering. It's not about making others feel bad, it's about setting a boundary and honoring it. People may not remember the details of why you left, but they will remember the strength of your decision. So, the next time you find yourself in a place where your worth isn't recognized, Ask yourself, am I watering a tree that refuses to grow? If the answer is yes, gather your courage, stand tall, and walk away. Because being absent from a space where you're diminished is far better than staying and losing yourself. Respect isn't begged for. It's built by how you treat yourself. By walking away, you remind the world and yourself that your light deserves to shine in the right room.